I truly forgot how irritating it is to film in the summer when it's hot as balls and I have my light here on me that contributes so much heat. So we're going to try and get through this as quickly as possible. Hello YouTube, my name is Isabella and today we're going to be doing my June TBR Chronicles game. You get the gist. I spin a wheel, credit is linked down below, and it helps me guide my TBR. So May was a gigantic bust for many reasons that I'm not going to go in here for because I will bog this down even further. I'll probably discuss why I didn't read as much as I wanted to, was supposed to, and planned to in my wrap up, which should be coming soon-ish. But I did not read what I was supposed to. I think I read barely half of my TBR. I did read these 4 books plus This Is How You Lose the Time War. I'm actually technically still currently reading Miracle Creek, but it will be done by the end of the month. And for the other 5 books I didn't read, I just didn't have like the emotional wherewithal to read some of them. Really early on into the month just went rogue and was like, you know what, you're not going to be able to complete your TBR anyway, just read whatever the hell you want and we'll deal with the punishment later, which I will be soon picking. So I didn't read these 4 books plus my arc, Blood Like Magic, but I will be reading that this month. And yeah, I went very rogue in May, which is not something I usually do, but here we are. I now have to pick my punishment, which I'm very scared to do because there are some books in here that could really screw up my plans. For June, I am participating in the Shelf Space month-long readathon, which is really cool. Unfortunately, I believe the sign-up date has already been cut off by the time that this video is going up, but I've been intending to join this Discord for a while. It's a month-long readathon. You get points for your team. It's based on Greek gods, and I'm very excited to do so. I think I'm a part of Team Hestia, but again, I don't know how Discord works, so I will figure that out later. Anyway, here's my punishment. There are some in here that honestly just aren't feasible because there's one in here that's no fantasy, and the readathon is basically meant to be all SFF titles, but I have my punishment. I am scared. And it says book buying ban. Okay, that sucks. I definitely know 3 books that I have pre-ordered that are coming to me, but I will not be able to purchase any new books in the month of June, which makes me very sad, but honestly is not a terrible thing because again, May was a really rough month for me, so I ended up buying a lot of books that I didn't necessarily need, but I was just like, I need the serotonin buy now, and I bought too many books. So not horrendous, not great, but not horrendous. All right, so we're almost ready to actually get into the spinning. I feel like I've been filming for forever. I also forgot to mention I fixed my wheel. I broke it at the end of my May TBR, and I have fixed it, which I'm very happy about. All right, we're going to pick my prompt. 500 plus. There are a ton of books that will fit this. I'm nervous because there's a lot of shit that I have to fit on here. So spin number 1. Adult. Yes, we want nice and generic picks this month. That's great. That took an obscene amount of time, and I have a lot of books to talk about, so I'm not going to give incredibly detailed synopses on any of them right now because I have 16 books to talk about, 8 which are going to be officially on my TBR, and 8 alternate picks that I will try and get to after I complete my TBR. I also forgot to mention before, like an idiot, like total idiot, that it's Pride Month in June, so I wanted to get some queer books on here. And for fantasy, and out of the books I own, I think I got a couple choices on here, so I'm happy about that. Apparently in June I'm just going nuts. I was also considering participating in the Whatever You Want-a-thon. I'll have that linked down below as well. That one you can sign up for at any point in time. You pick a team, all that stuff. You also earn points for the team, so if you're interested in like a month-long thing, I'll have that linked down below, but I honestly don't want to do that. I 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 don't want to do that. don't want to don't think I have the emotional patience to fill out and keep track of point systems for 2 different readathons. So anyway, so my first spin was adult, and I ended up choosing The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. This I'm going to use the prompt to fulfill for Poseidon. I don't know how I'm going to edit this. Maybe I will stick a picture beside me of like the little Greek guys, but the prompt is to read a book with like water, sea, ocean, rivers, lakes, whatever, and this is set right by the seaside, so I'm so thrilled to be reading this. I've been intending on reading it for literally like ever, so yeah. And it's queer, it's male, it's pitched as like middle grade but for adults. This is an adult book, and I'm very excited to finally be reading this book. All right, so for prompt number 2, I am picking coin flip. Okay, that's nice and easy. On to spin number 2. Give me something good. Oh my god, finally! I have been waiting for this one. If you can't read my writing, which is totally understandable, it says Brewster pick. Brewster is my dog. I've been waiting for this prompt to come up since I think like February. I'm so thrilled. You're gonna get to meet my dog. For spin number 2, oh, we're already at Brewster pick, which is my dog. Haven't technically filmed that yet. He is napping currently, so I will insert a clip here, and I am fulfilling that for the prompt Nyx. It says read a book that is the last in a series or a duology, and I've got 4 series enders, 2 duologies, and he's gonna get a treat and get to pick one of those. Okay, so I've got Brewster here. Hi, honey. You ready to pick a book for me? I'm going to quickly show you the books that I have first. I've got Only Human. This is the 3rd book in the Themis Files series. A Crown of Wishes, which is technically a finale to the duology. The first book being Star-Touched Queen. I also didn't read that in June. I have Blood of a Thousand Stars, which is the 2nd book in the, I don't even remember. The first book is called Empress of a Thousand Skies. Anyway, and the final book is Parable of the Talents by Octavia E. Butler. This is the sequel to Parable of the Sower, which I read years ago and absolutely loved. Initially, for the prompt, I was going to pick this one, but it's now up to fate and up to Brewster. We're going to see which one he pounces on first. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1, go get it! There we go. Okay. Crown of Wishes. Cool. While he continues to do that, I am going to be reading A Crown of Wishes. Apparently this is just May TBR 2.0, but I'm not mad at it. Thanks, Brewster. So picking prompt number 3, I don't know. Mom picked. Oh, that would be nice as well. Fuck. Okay. I just hit my arm. That's fine. We're going to be reading a tome. I think a lot of the books I have to read are over 500 pages anyway. Spin 3 was not Jade War. Spoiler alert. Spin 3 was a book over 500 pages. I'm doing a couple repeats this month because I do desperately want to read these books. And I ended up choosing Jade War. This fulfills the Dionysus prompt, which is a book with white or red on the cover. Sequel to Jade City. It is high fucking time I read this book. I've kind of been putting it off because I'm intimidated by it. And last month when I was supposed to have read it, I accidentally saw a spoiler for it, and I was really mad at myself because I could have read this and then not been spoiled for it. So my own fault, and I am sad. All right, picking another prompt. We're gonna go with romance. Not necessarily what I want when I'm supposed to be reading a shitload of SFF, but I'm pretty sure I could bend it. Spin number 4 of 8. I then got New Release, which I am choosing One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. I think out of my entire TBR, this is my only non-SFF title. This is Casey McQuiston's new book. It's highly anticipated. It's a contemporary romance, and it's sapphic. I'm fulfilling the Hermes prompt on this one, which is basically a characters involving travel, vacation, or quest, and they are basically on a quest to save someone who's either in a time loop or something to do with time. So we're stretching it a bit, but it does count. So picking our next prompt, I'm going to choose sci-fi. So spin number 5, I think. All right, we're leaving a lot up to chance today. My next spin was mom picked. I picked 4 books that have either fire in the title or the cover. That fulfills the Hephaestus prompt, and this was difficult, but I found some. So I gave her the options of Sabriel by Garth Nix, Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Neon, Caliban's War, which doesn't have a lot of fire on it, but there's like a little bit, and the final one being Middle Game by Sean McGuire. I will put up proof, actually remember to pop up the proof of the book she chose, and that was none other than Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Neon. I'm very excited that she picked this. This was the one I was originally intending to read for the readathon, because not only is it fantasy and have fire in the title, but it's also sapphic, and I wanted to read that for Pride, so yay. Next one is going to be nonfiction, which I have to read a nonfiction every month, so that still would be pretty great to get that on there. So far I am not mad at what I have gotten, so for once the wheel is working with me, but hopefully I didn't like just jinx it. Spin 6. Sci-fi. All right. I feel like hopefully I'm moving through these quickly because I have a lot of books to talk about, and editing this, I know it's just going to be a straight up bitch to edit. I then spun sci-fi, and I am choosing The Galaxy and the Ground Within by Becky Chambers. This is the 4th book in the Wayfarers series, and I don't know what it's about. I'm using it to fulfill the prompt of Hestia, choose a book with a found family trope. I don't know what this is about, but I know this will contain a found family because I did read the synopsis at one point in time, and also Becky Chambers basically has a found family in every single one of her Wayfarers books, and I'm very excited to get it. It has not yet come out in Canada. The release date keeps getting pushed back, but I think it's coming to me early June, so I'm very excited to be reading that. Alrighty, I think I've said all right like 500 times already in this video. My bad. Next prompt, cover by. Okay, I've been having some technical difficulties, so if I'm in the next shot when I'm spinning it, my apologies, but spinning from my right hand's not really working. So spin 7 as I hold on with my right hand. Spin number 7, you were on cover by, spin. I then got the prompt of Novella. I am choosing Across the Green Grass Fields by Sean McGuire. This is the 6th book in the I was right, Wayward Children. I got tripped up on, anyway. I'm using this to fulfill the prompt of Apollo, read a book in an unconventional format, and Novella falls under that umbrella. So I'm excited to read this. This also works for Pride Month because it follows an intersex MC. I'm interested in the setting and world this one is set in. It's set in kind of like a horse girl centaur world, so very interested to give this one a try. I'm honestly shocked I have not yet read this book. Okay, so hopefully picking my last prompt will be sci-fi. I've already done that. Let's pick something different. Blurb. Hopefully my final spin number 8, we shall see, and let's do it. Okay, so technical difficulties aside, I only have 8 prompts on here to read, which is good on a normal month, but because I'm planning on reading a lot in June anyway, I could have done with a few prompts, and July will be a fun month in terms of spins, but we will cross that bridge when we come to it. My final book on the official TBR, I got Arc. I'm going to be reading Blood Like Magic. I actually started this book in May and planned on reading it. I only got like maybe 10% in, and then I realized it features a matriarchy, which is a prompt in the Shelf Space readathon. I'm using it for, I think it's Hera, and you have to read a book in a matriarchy, and I was honestly struggling to find some of that, but the book itself makes a point to say that it's a matriarchy and men cannot rule the witch clans, so we're counting it. So that's all the books on the official TBR, the books I have to read to be successful. The next 8 that I'm going to talk about are the ones that would fulfill the rest of like the readathon prompts. I do not have to get to all of these to be successful in the readathon, to be successful on my own TBR. It's just other books that would get, I guess, points for my team. These are also subject to change. My original TBR is not. These ones, if there's something that pops up that I want to read, or like there's a readathon I want to participate in and I can switch it, I will gladly do so. But we're going to very quickly talk about the rest of these. The first one that I have written down here is Shit Actually by Lindy West. This would fulfill the prompt for Demeter to read a book with food on the cover. This was the most difficult thing to fulfill, but this is nonfiction, and I think this is the writer of Shrill, which I have not yet read or watched, but I want to. And this discusses, I guess, the author's opinions on like pop culture and like looking back on like popular movies and stuff like that. Initially not entirely my thing, but Marinez from My Name is Marinez recommended this a while ago, and because I'm trying to branch out and read different types of nonfiction and just nonfiction in general, I figured I'd give this one a shot. The next book I have to possibly read, this is a stretch to be honest, is Valor by John Gwynne. This is book 2 in the Fateful and the Fallen series, and this would fulfill the prompt of Zeus to read a book set in a patriarchy. I am very interested in reading this, but this is a long book and I have a lot of stuff to read already in the month, so if hell freezes over and I read a lot, then I will pick this one up. If not, I'll probably push it to July. The next book I have to read is oh my god, the text is so small in here, is Elantris by Brandon Sanderson. I've been slowly making my way through the Cosmere, and while I do really want to continue on with these Stormlight books, I've read only book 1. He has a reading order that he himself recommends, and I am up to the point where I should be reading Elantris, and then I think I get to read book 2 of Stormlight. Prompt is to read a book with like the dead or ghost themes, and this follows kind of zombie-ish people, but they're not like really dead, but like they are still kind of dead. The dead and the ruined may yet have a role to play in this new world, so I'm counting it. I think this is also his first published work, so I'm interested to see how this would go. I also would really love to get to Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston. This is a middle grade that's kind of taken book 2 by storm, and I am very excited to give it a shot. I'm fulfilling the prompt for Artemis, which is to read a book with night in the title, and it just seems really sweet. It follows a young girl whose brother goes missing, but then she either discovers this like society that has a bunch of like different mythical creatures, and then she realizes that her brother isn't dead but might have been abducted. I've seen literally the absolute fucking best reviews for this book, and I'm very excited to give it a shot. And I've read a decent chunk of middle grade as of late, and I've been having a fun time with it, so I'd like to read Amari. This next book is unlikely, but it is for the Aries prompt, which is to read a military sci-fi, which, to be honest, I don't think I read that much of, Poppy War excluded. So I am choosing possibly to read The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winters. This is based off of certain African folklores, and I've been interested in reading this book, but also really, really nervous because I've seen incredibly polarizing reviews. One of the books on this list that I'm like certain I will read, that is not a part of the official TBR, is Wondersmith, The Calling of Morgan Crow. This is a middle grade series again that I had a really fun time with the first book. I want to continue on with the series, and the prompt I'm using to fulfill for this is Aphrodite, a beautiful book. And the cover itself here is really lovely, but the insides are what are so beautiful to me, and I've specifically gone out of my way to purchase the UK covers, so I figured that would fulfill that prompt very well. And I already have the audiobook out from my library, so I'm like 99% certain I will read this book. in June. We are almost done. My throat is sore. Okay, 2 more books. I also would love to read A Memory Called Empire by Arkady Martine. I just realized that this won the Hugo in 2020. That's nice, but I also don't want the sticker. Anyway, this would fulfill the prompt for Athena to read a book with political intrigue. I know that this book is just entirely made up of political intrigue. It is an adult sci-fi, and I just purchased this. This was one of my, I'm sad about my life and circumstances, so I want to purchase books, and this was a part of that stack. So I would love to read it and then possibly read the sequel, which I think just came out soonish. The final book I would like to read is the first book in the, what's the series called? The Inheritance trilogy by N.K. Jemisin. I do own the bind up because I found it at a used bookstore for like $2, and I was like, yeah, I have to read it. And so I wanted to read the first book, The 100,000 Kingdoms. I somewhat recently watched a live show about N.K. Jemisin on the World Hoppers channel. I'll have it linked down below. But the way everyone was talking about N.K. Jemisin on there really like re-inspired me to pick up another one of her works, because I've read the book Broken Earth trilogy and loved it, but I hadn't read anything else, and I'm excited to do so. I'm a little bit nervous about reading this in the bind up. I feel like it's going to be a nightmare, but again, I bought this for so cheap, and if I really like the series, I think I will upgrade and buy the books individually. I may have bitten off more than I can chew, but whatever. We're going to be ambitious this month. Let me know down in the comments below any of your thoughts and opinions on any of the books that I chose. Are you going to participate in any readathons in the month of June? Can't believe it's already June. That's crazy. But as always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye.